All right, welcome back to the Delete Laws channel. What laws are we trying to delete? Every law that is unjust. Let me start this video out with something rare. I'm going to give you a scripture verse, and it's from Ecclesiastes 8:11. And the reason I cite it is because it's true, and I don't care where the truth is found. When you find it, you should latch onto it because it is your friend, not your enemy. Because the sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Did you notice that? When the sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Is it an evil work to stand on your rights? Is it an evil work to expose evil? Because usually when you're turning the camera on the cops, what you're doing is actually exposing the workers and the deeds of evil. Now, this is kind of a test live stream because I want to make sure that when I go live at 3:40 and we get the call from Chile from jail, there's not going to be any kind of glitches in the system. I think I fixed the audio problem that I was having yesterday. Let's just confirm that. I'm gonna play some of this, and you let me know if you can hear system audio.
Hey guys, if you're watching this, I have lost my freedom.
Okay, can you hear that? Put a one. Just let me know if you guys can hear it. What time? It's going to be at 3:40 p.m. Central Standard Time. You do hear it. Thank goodness. Here's what the problem was. I use Firefox. I don't use Google Chrome. So apparently you have to be in Google Chrome and use the Google Chrome browser in order for the audio function. There's a little audio switch in order for there to be an audio capability for playing YouTube videos or whatever. So I was using Firefox and there was no capability for Firefox. You have to have some kind of third-party thing going on. John, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, hashtag free Chile now. And I will be putting the links to Chile's PayPal. And a lot of people are saying, hey, he's already gone over the $25,000. The money that's going in for Chile is not just going to be used for Chile. Chile uses this stuff to help a whole bunch of people. And he shows the receipts on where all this money went. So all these people out here, God bless the trolls. Should I say that? I don't know if I should say that, but I'll go ahead and say it anyway. God bless the trolls. I really hope one day the trolls will board the ship of freedom. That's what I want. So all you trolls out there that give Chile a hard time or whatever, accusation without substantiation is the height of ignorance. Just let that sink in. And I just want to let you know one thing that Edward Snowden said that I like a lot. When exposing a crime is treated as committing a crime, you are being ruled by criminals. And guess what? You're not just being ruled by criminals, but you're being ruled by criminals to the applause of all these anti-auditors out there. I'm going to play this. This is Flex from Flex Your Freedoms. I'm going to show you exactly why he's in prison right now. He's in prison for the next 10 days with 20 days suspended and 1 year unsupervised probation. And this is why. Let's go ahead and play.
Hey guys, if you're watching this, I have lost my freedom and I'm locked up in jail, all for free speech. I am asking you all for some help. Please share this video and get the word out. It's been 2 years since the tyrants in Waterloo, Iowa arrested me. This all started after I was driving back to my house, fresh from auditing. I was driving on my block and I had noticed a bunch of undercover police and pickup trucks right behind me. I had no idea what was in store for me. There was around 15 cops at my neighbor's house, armed to the teeth, and they had my neighbor surrounded. Confused as to why this was happening, I see these officers handcuffing my neighbor. He kept asking why they were arresting him, and none of the officers answered. He resisted the cuffs, and they threw him to the ground, tased him multiple times, and kneeled on his neck and rubbed his head on the concrete.
I hope it's all on video, bro. I hope it's all on video.
You need to leave those two phones out.
He's telling him he has to leave.
Make sure you send that video to my father.
I got it. Just come see me.
Oh, by the way, you are performing a public service anytime you get your video camera out and record what the police are doing to your fellow Americans. You are the one protecting and serving against the people who are supposed to be protecting and serving. So who protects us from the protectors and servants who are harming us? Well, it's you with a video camera.
I'm not on. This is public. Don't be a punk.
Noticing that I was recording this very rough arrest, one of the tyrants yelled at me to get off the property. I never once went on the property, mind you. Now we meet one of the biggest oath-breaking tyrants in all of Iowa, Lieutenant Michael Gersh.
You're a witness to all this?
No, I'm not. I don't answer questions.
Oh, okay, then go.
He doesn't like that I was documenting this rough arrest and tries getting me away so I cannot record it any longer. I tell him off, as the arrest was well over 50 feet away and I was on public property the whole time. I don't take corrupt, unlawful demands lightly, and Lieutenant Michelle Gersh was so ego-filled and offended that I made fun of his pimple on his chin.
Cool pimple you got on your face.
Ended that I made fun of it.
This is public. Don't touch me. What the
you doing for this property?
He turned around and started shoving me away into an active roadway.
name and badge number now?
Lieutenant Gersh, G3716.
You don't know who you're with, boy.
Obviously not. There's a search warrant being executed here. You don't have the right to be here.
I'm in public. You pushed me in the street, you dumb. You pushed me there, dumb.
Go to your house.
No.
Okay.
Ah,
There's a
I
search
can.
warrant being executed.
What are you touching me? What the?
Go.
Imagine a man giving a directive to another man who's not doing anything wrong. He's out in public, just like everybody is free to be, not allowed. We got to stay away from some of this terminology. Hey, I'm allowed to be on the public sidewalk. I'm allowed to be recording at a public library. No, you're not allowed. You're free. If you say that you're allowed to do something, then you're saying that there's a master over you granting you permission. And I understand it's almost like semantics, but it's very important to define words and use the right words. If we're going to live free, we need to use some pretty exact language that doesn't rope us back into slavery.
Okay.
Ah,
There's a search
I
warrant
can.
being executed.
What are you touching me? What the?
Go.
Get the are
The
you
property
doing?
and get out of
What are you doing, you dumb?
Go
I
over
can't
there.
videotape.
Right here.
This is my property. Don't
Right.
touch me.
This is your property.
Don't touch me.
Back up.
You pushed me in the road.
I'm not gonna tell you
recording.
again.
I can't
Good. I'm
record it.
recording too.
Now, I don't like talking about this, but I think it's needed. I'm a 100% disabled combat veteran with PTSD alone. When another man puts hands on me for no reason, I get quite mad, as would anybody else. I can control myself from physically fighting back. But instead of my lighthearted comedic approach I normally use, I voiced my anger via free speech and hurled insults at Lieutenant Michael Gersh. I then walked across the street to where a group of people were and continued filming the arrest. I stayed out of the scene, even though there was many family members in the active scene walking back and forth.
They wrestled him down on the ground and scraped his face.
Oh, I was watching.
They scraped his face.
As you notice, I was the furthest away compared to the many others watching this. I noticed a group of officers standing inside the fence, doing nothing but talking with each other. And you could tell that they hated my free speech and wanted to find a way to arrest me. That's when we meet this tyrant, Sergeant Greg Erie. Greg Erie was very upset with my free speech, saying that I can't swear. He had enough and decided to solicit a disorderly conduct charge and asked everyone around me if my speech offended them.
What do you want?
You can stand out here and talk.
I can talk all I want. First Amendment right.
Okay? You
Oh, I can't swear.
Are you ladies offended by his?
Everyone said they weren't offended and my speech was just fine. So I said,
Check that out. He tried to solicit he wanted to get some nanoparticle of ground that he could stand on so he could lay his hands on Flex legally. And he was trying to go to the community members. Hey, is this language offensive to you? Because if it is, hey, I can remove him for disorderly. And every one of them said, no, chill out, dude. Ain't nothing wrong here. That was the testimony of Flex's peers, while the tyrant who's supposed to be protecting and serving is trying to solicit some evil act that Flex was doing so he could put him in cuffs. It's evil. It's just downright evil. Apparently people, Mr. Where's Chile? Chile's in jail. Chile's been in jail for over a week now. And he will be calling in later today on my next live stream here on Delete Laws. He's going to be calling in between 3-4. I'm going to start the live stream at 3:40. So he's going to call me between 3:40 and 4 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. So let's get back to this. This is Flex.
as many cuss words as possible to his face, and these famous words were said.
Yeah, you're a tyrant. Suck my dick.
Okay,
Hey.
that's it.
Yeah, arrest me, huh? Disorderly.
I was arrested for bruising his ego and hurting his feelings. They knew that the disorderly conduct charge held zero weight. So instead, they charged me with interference with official acts. They threw me in a freezing cold cell, no blanket, mat, or food. 12 hours later, I had some friends who watched my live stream drive all the way up from Illinois to bail me out. Now things get a lot more corrupt.
So Dangerous Liberty and Illinois Tyrant News came together, and this is what the community is all about, guys. They came together and they didn't let their brother stay in jail. They bailed him out. That right there is what this is all about. None of us is greater than all of us. We are all going to have some form of hour of need, and we're going to need friends that are going to help us. And that's what the donation page is, the fundraiser page for the Chile PayPal, or what is it? GoFundMe. That's what the Chile GoFundMe is for, and that's what the auditing GoFundMe is for. While we've gained over $30,000 in the last 2 or 3 days, it's not all going to Chile, guys. A pretty big part of that is going to go to his lawyer so he can get him out of jail, file the appeal, and Chile's going to fill us in on all that kind of stuff. But, I see people objecting. Yeah, Chile's he's going to up it to $100,000. Well, let's up it to $1 million. Let's have a fund. Why don't we have a slush fund of like $10 million where there's absolute transparency? So if any one of us gets in trouble standing on our rights and gets thrown into a cage, there's some kind of fund that people can dip into, and there can be coverage immediately. Wouldn't that be nice? And it wouldn't even take much. Guys, there are hundreds of thousands of us. How many followers does Long Island Audit have? Going on 700,000. Lackluster has over 1.1 million. I've got, 500,000. DirectD's got a huge audience. James Freeman has a good audience. If we all gave $1, $5, $10, we could literally have a multi-million-dollar fund. And I understand, power corrupts and money corrupts and all that kind of stuff. But if we have somebody like Chile who offers transparency, who offers the receipts, here's where all the money's going, here's how much went in, here's how much went out, here's what we had to pay for to keep this whole operation going. Wouldn't that be awesome? So, people can decry that all they want, but, money talks. And if we can get somebody out of jail so that they can be free to work on their case and get a good lawyer and win the case and then start setting precedents like Turner v. Driver, we got some wins going on here. So we had Illinois Tyrant News, and who's the other one?
At first,
Dangerous Liberty bailing out Flex. Good job, guys. That's what it's all about. None of us is greater than all of us.
now things get a lot more corrupt. At first, I got a public pretender, which was this woman. In talking with her, she stated that I would be found guilty because I cussed at the cops. Thinking to myself, wow, how is this failure an attorney? She didn't want to represent me, and I had gotten another public pretender. This time, he agreed with me that I didn't commit any crime, and it was obvious I was arrested for my speech. During this time, before court, after waiting over 10 years, I had finally received my back pay from the VA for my
Yeah, this is a good point. I mean, you guys, we got to be open to any kind of correction. We have to be open to taking a direction that may be different than the direction we're on. We may be on a direction that's not good and won't benefit the maximum amount of people, or may harm people in the process. Yeah, we got to look at this kind of stuff. Maybe getting an attorney is not standing on your rights. Maybe at best it is standing on your privileges. We got to talk about that kind of stuff. This is why I hate censorship, because if stuff like this was censored because somebody disagreed with what I'm saying, then how am I ever going to learn? All I've done is assured that I've sealed myself in my own echo chamber, and I just keep hearing my voice back. Oh, Brian's right. Brian's right. Everything he says is right. Oh, this is great. It's greatest thing since sliced bread. This is awesome. This is what we need. We need more speech, not less speech, because more speech widens the pool of information so we can actually make sure and test our hypothesis and test our ideas and our beliefs. Do they hold weight on the scale of justice versus injustice? Am I on the right side? Because I could be on the wrong side. I could be sincere, but I could be sincerely wrong. So, I don't argue with that. Paul Unslaved sank the Titanic. I don't think that's truly Paul Unslaved, because I haven't seen that he actually has a moniker like that. But I don't know. Let's go on.
Disabilities. So I went out attorney hunting. Let me just say that finding an attorney in Iowa is almost impossible, but I convinced one of the best attorneys to represent me. Same attorney that won a huge amount of money for a client who was recording police in which they stole his phone. For him to fight the simple misdemeanor charge, it initially cost me over $20,000. We thought it would be a breeze to win, as I hadn't committed a crime. Next comes court. Here we meet a very unconstitutional, corrupt judge, Brooke K. Jacobson, and the DA, which he didn't want to drop the charges. Now, if I didn't know this guy named Brooke was a judge, I would have guessed he was probably just look at this creepy ass face. So
That's pretty funny, man.
Jury selection happens. We asked the jury to raise their hands if they are personal friends with police officers, and over 2/3 raised their hands, with many stating they are personal friends with these very Waterloo officers. I knew then that this was unfair and they had rigged it against me.
Yeah, because what is it? It's a big club. Like George Carlin said, it's a big club and you and I ain't in it. We're not in the judge club. We're not in the prosecutor's club. We're not in the attorney's club. And we're not in the law enforcement club. And they all work together. Now, sometimes a judge will make a decision that actually favors a member of the public against local law enforcement. But sometimes the worst thing that happens to a law enforcement official, not very often, but sometimes they'll lose their jobs. But they won't lose their pensions. They won't lose all their benefits, and they'll be able to go to the next county over and do the exact same tyrannical actions that they did in the county that they left. But sometimes the hammer falls on the side of a member of the public. That's very rare, though. And even when there is a win, if you really look under the covers, look under the hood of that, it's usually a hollow win.
And it gets worse. One of the 6 jury members was an active city council member, John Chiles. John even stated that he would be hesitant to side against the police, as he has to work with them. During court, we were against 2 prosecutors instead of 1. Judge Brooke K. Jacobson was censoring the Constitution, case law, and many arguments, while letting the prosecutor say anything they please. We know that interference with official acts states physical contact or an obstruction is needed. And
check this out. A person commits interference with official acts when the person knowingly resists or obstructs anyone known by the person to be a peace officer. Guess what? It's just a little interesting element here. When you talk about specific terms and term defining, law enforcement and being a peace officer are diametrically opposed and mutually exclusive. Peace officer is not a law enforcement officer, because when you say you're a law enforcement officer, you're basically saying, I'm going to enforce all the laws, including the unjust, immoral, and unconstitutional ones. Peace officers, they don't do that. They want peace, and they want peace based on justice. Jailer, emergency medical care provider under Chapter 147A, or firefighter. Person performing bailiff duties. So, who knowingly resists or obstructs the service or execution by any authorized person of any civil or criminal process of order of any court. So, what they're saying basically is it's an act that's other than you standing there with a camera and talking to somebody who's behind the wheel of a car, getting the brunt of roadside extortion from the road pirates. See, what's happening is you're not obstructing justice. You're obstructing tyranny. You're obstructing road piracy. And they don't like that because the welfare of the people is the health of the state.
Obstacle in that verbal harassment is no part of this. They claim the physical part of interference happened when Lieutenant Michael Gersh shoved me in an active roadway. On the stand, Michael Gersh stated that he couldn't clear the house, which he was searching because I was videoing outside. He lied and claimed that me being there prevented him from clearing the house. He is such a dishonorable, corrupt tyrant. Watching him be completely uncomfortable on the stand and cringing from his actions when he was shoving the old man and then shoving me around, he was prepped to lie and say anything that would cover his own ass. From the judge to the DA to the police, you have to understand that they all have each other's back. And they'll lie and manipulate the law any way they feel like to win. The Constitution means nothing to these traitors, even when...
Yeah, and it's policing for profits. You know what really sucks about having to gather money and fundraise for people who are in jail? It's kind of a catch-22. Yeah, they get out of jail and then they can submit their appeal and then they can try to, buy themselves some time so that they can create a case so they can possibly win. But the catch-22 of this whole thing is we're actually funding the state. Think about it. They put us into a cage unjustly because we exposed their tyranny. And now we got to pay thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars so that we can get out, so we can fight the case that was unjustly launched against us. Now they get enriched. The court system makes a whole bunch of money. This right here is nothing more, nothing less than a policing for profit scheme.
Sergeant Eerie admitted on the stand that when I called him a tyrant, it triggered him. And so he arrested me. He hated being called a tyrant, yet he acted just like an oath-breaking tyrant would and stripped me from my freedom, threw me in a cage, and waged war on my mental health and wallet. During jury deliberation, the jury asked questions about the very law.
I really like how he said that. It waged war on my mental health and his physical health and his wallet.
I was charged with, and the judge denied giving them the answer. I was found guilty. 10 days in jail, 20 suspended, and 1 year probation. Judge Brooke even sentenced me harshly and unfair because he wants to prevent others from doing what I do. Well, obviously thinking we would appeal this BS and get to a higher court that actually follows the law would be next. However, in Iowa, if you get a simple misdemeanor, it's up to the same corrupt court to decide if you even get an appeal or not. To save their own ass, they declined. All the hope we had left was to appeal to the Supreme Court of Iowa, and the chances are extremely low that they would even look at it, especially being a simple misdemeanor. Well, they couldn't care less and denied me twice.
And so let me break in here and let me just put this into perspective. When something like this happens to a Flex or to a Hendry or to a Chile or to a Press with Rancor, it's happening to all of us and may well happen to one of us one day, or one of your family members, somebody that you love. They could find themselves in a rape cage being abused not only by the inmates, but also by the prison guards, having done nothing wrong. And this is why it's so important to challenge this stuff and win against it, because one day it's going to be you. An injustice that happens to one man anywhere does what? It happens to all men everywhere.
Now I am stripped of my freedom and sitting in a freezing cold cell. Don't worry, there is a plan in place to sue and try again. I am calling upon all of you for help. If what you just watched was unjust, please make your voices heard. All the contact info will be in the description. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, I'm sure they would love hearing from you. Don't just watch this and go about your day, or nothing will ever change. Help fight this battle with me. Oh, and John Chiles, you picked the wrong one to side against. because you're a rat coward and only cared about your political career rather than the people you swore to serve. I'll be taking your city council job away from you, John, and I will run against you. Anywhere you go, I will challenge and beat you for your cowardice. Once I'm free, prepare Waterloo. Things are about to get real, and you'll see a lot of freedom being exercised. Now it's up to you. Will you make your voices heard?
Yeah, you're a tyrant. Suck my dick.
Okay,
Hey.
that's it.
Yeah, arrest me.
I've been looking for a way out. I'm sick of feeling like I'm way down.
I don't even know what to say, man. It's almost like a claustrophobic feeling thinking about somebody sitting in a cage, 100% of their freedoms taken away, being economically terrorized and tormented, you know, fearing what might happen from the inmates or the prison guards. It's a bizarre world that we live in. So I put the link for Flex in the chat right here. It's his PayPal and his Cash App. If you guys want to help give to him, and also let me give you this link right here. Here is the link. I should actually put this in I'll try to modify the description and I'll put that in the description for you. I want to take a look at one more thing before we get out of here, because at 3:40, I'm going to start a separate live stream where, you know, probably 15, 20 minutes into that live stream, we'll hear from Chile straight from prison. Hey, what's up? Let's overturn TV, Ohio. Clash with Bows here. Melania's here. Carter, Alan Hubbs. Thank you guys for being here. Jeff Hates Pigs is here. Chris, April Rain. All right. So I want to look at this one more thing right here. This is Buffalo cop fired for use of pepper spray. This comes from the investigative post on YouTube. Check this out.
Tonight, our partners at Investigative Post have found that the Buffalo Police Union is asking a judge to overturn the termination of a police officer who pepper sprayed a woman during an incident in 2020. The officer was fired for excessive force and making false statements. Joining me here in studio is investigative reporter Bruce Rushton, who was following this story closely. What are the full details of what happened to that officer and that woman in that video we just saw?
Well, what happened was the police were called to an address, and the initial call indicated there was a gun present, which expedites the response, and understandably so. While Officer Murphy was en route, the dispatcher informed police that, in fact, there was no gun present. And so the officer got out of the car and, by all appearances, jumped to the...
Solar Bear says Waterloo Police Department blocked me from viewing or commenting on their Facebook page after posting Lackluster's video on this situation. I wonder why. Could it be that they hate the First Amendment? I mean, they really, really deep down hate it. I think so, because they hate it so much, they're willing to put a man who exercised that freedom into a cage. It'd be like, imagine what would happen to you and I if we saw somebody exercising their constitutional right. Let's say freedom of speech. We didn't like what they were saying. It was offensive to us, and it was at a bus station or something, or in a post office, and we laid our hands on them, and we happened to have some rope in our backpack, and we tied off their hands and threw them in the back of our cars, and then we took them and we locked them up in our basement. And there would be a manhunt out for us. But somehow it's okay to do. If you got an official looking uniform on, you call yourself a law enforcement agent. Unbelievable. The magic spell Americans and everybody around the globe is under with this authority, this perceived. There's no such thing as legitimate authority. There's no such thing as a man who has legitimate power over another man. None. And if there is, that means you believe that somebody has a higher claim over your life and property than you. You believe that it's okay to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong, as long as you got a uniform, a badge, and a gun and say that you're with the government. And there's no such thing. And you're saying, thirdly, that it's okay to violate the golden rule. Do to others what you would want done to you. Conversely, don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. You wouldn't want to be in a post office, say something that somebody else views as distasteful, and this person and his buddies grab you, tie you up, throw you into their car, and then take you to their basement where they abuse you. And then nothing happens to you. It's amazing, amazing world we live in.
That the woman who he pepper sprayed had called the police and falsely said that there was a gun present. And he did not give her an opportunity to tell her side of the story. The video pretty much speaks for itself. He grabs her by the arm, pulls her off the porch, drops a number of F-bombs during his encounter. When she tries to talk to him, he sprays her not once, but twice with pepper spray.
I just keep thinking, if I did this to somebody, I would be in such trouble, and rightly so. Society should look down on me. If I did this to somebody, they should hunt me down and remove me from society. I would be a danger, but they don't do that to you just lose your job, or you get paid vacation.
I think what makes it even more concerning is that a number of police officers are already present when this officer arrives, and the scene is calm. There is no issue until Officer Murphy arrives. And this is noted in the arbitrator's decision that everything seemed to be going okay until Murphy made it not okay.
Your reporting also indicated that he earned, over $275,000 while he was being disciplined. How does that play into this decision, you think?
I'm not sure that it plays into the decision. That's just standard procedure when police face discipline. The first 30 days of suspension are unpaid. And if it's not figured out within 30 days, then they go back on the payroll, typically suspended. They don't come to work until the matter is adjudicated. And so this is fairly standard procedure. This incident took place in 2020, and so the spring of 2020. And so it was adjudicated by the arbitrator in October of 2023. So that's quite a long period of time to be waiting for a decision to come down.
From what you learned, is this the first time in a long time that the police union has really done something like this when it comes to this type of decision?
I was unable to find any instance of either the police union or the city seeking to overturn an arbitrator's termination decision. And I used the online court records from Erie County Supreme Court, where these decisions are usually appealed if there's going to be an appeal. The court docket does indicate instances in which the union or even the city, in at least.
Let's just put it this way. Him being fired for this is absolutely rare. Look at this frightening message by Josephine. I've been sexually assaulted 4 times by criminal cops. I've been falsely arrested 7 times and physically assaulted 7 times. Criminal cops broke 5 of my bones, the nerves, tendons, and veins in both of my hands and wrists, gave me a concussion and sprained my neck. Criminal cops have tried to kill me many, many times. These criminal coward cops have all gotten away with their crimes against me. That's extremely depressing.
One instance has appealed a matter of grievance, something less severe than termination.
2 quick questions.
Yeah.
You didn't hear from the PBA?
No, I did have a brief email exchange with a lawyer from the PBA, and he declined comment on any substantive in any substantive way.
And what about this woman that we saw in the video? I guess we can't ignore her. Did
No.
she ever file any type of lawsuit or anything?
She did not file a lawsuit, and I was unable to find her. I had a telephone number for her that has been disconnected. I went to her last known address, and she no longer lives there. I would very much like to talk to her to get her side of the story and see what she would have said to the police officer had she been afforded an opportunity to do so.
Interesting case, and the body cam footage says so much. Bruce, from our partners.
And if we didn't have the body camera footage, the cop would have gotten away with it. Even in cases where we have the body camera footage, cops get away with it, or they get a slap on the wrist, or they lose their jobs, or they get a paid vacation, but they rarely ever go to jail. They have to commit something absolutely atrocious. And even when they do that, like Philip Brailsford ending the life of Daniel Shaver, or Matt Schneider never saw 1 day of jail for what he did to Johnny Wheatcroft in front of his kids, tasing him in his private parts and just torturing the guy. Pretty sad world we live in here, guys. By the way, this is Ann Zimmerman. I'm not telling anybody that they should do this, but there is an email. There is an email for Annie, little orphan Annie. And there it is right there. And I would say if anybody decided to utilize that email or these office numbers right here, be cordial, be kind, be polite, be as firm as you want. But You know, nobody's telling anybody to do anything. If you're going to do something, you're going to do it of your own volition. But this is Ann Zimmerman who decided, hey, you know what it'd be a good idea to do today? It'd be a good idea to act out on my emotions and unleash all my unbridled power against Chile DeCastro because I hate the fact that he hates cops and he hates our injustice system. So because you hate our injustice system, Mr. DeCastro, I'm going to put the cuffs on you right now in the courtroom. You're going to spend the next 180 days in the Clark County Detention Center. By the way, Ann Zimmerman and staff is deleting Google reviews on their Google review page. Look at this. Mine is not on there, the one I read to you the other night. But I'll tell you what is on there. Let's see. I thought I saw. Highest rating. Oh, yeah. Look at this right here. Mark Coburn says, as an attorney of nearly 30 years in Nevada and other jurisdictions, I can honestly say that Judge Zimmerman is even-handed. Depends on what perspective you're coming from. I guess if you're coming from the injustice system as an attorney at law, you would consider Ann Zimmerman even-handed. Hey, she evenly dished out the evil that I'm accustomed to her dishing out. Of course, not every party to any given case is going to be happy, but she listens to both sides and tries to be consistently fair. Really? How come we don't have any video evidence of that regarding Chile DeCastro? Why is an innocent man who committed no crime, who broke no law, in jail, and the guy who lied on the stand, who's in uniform, Officer Bork, lied 3 times on the stand? How come he gets to go to bed and sleep in his own bedroom on his own pillow? Nevada needs more judges like this one. Ann Zimmerman is just great. She's wonderful. She's a fantastic, shining example of justice. Unlike many others, she strikes the necessary balance between being strict but being fair. I think this is what most people want. Most people want justice, and most people want to extract the element of policing for profit and courts for profit and the state for profit. We need to be benefiting from our trustees, and we ain't. So just as a reminder, there will be, and let me just show you this. Let's go to YouTube.
Overturn the termination.
Delete laws. We got a lot more to say here, but I'm going to save it for the next video here. This video right here is going to be going live in 42 minutes. And in 15 minutes into the video, we should be getting a call from Chile from jail so he can give us the up-to-the-moment update on what's actually going on with his lawyer and the appeals process and everything. I really appreciate everybody contributing to the activist fund and to Chile's fund right here. We've already raised over $30,000 in the last, I don't know how many days it's been now. So you got 18 here and you got 12 here. That's 30. Again, all this stuff is accounted for and all the receipts will be presented by Chile. So all you detractors out there, all you ad hominem launchers, go pound sand, will you? Or get on the freedom vessel, you know, the freedom ship. That's what I'd rather have. I'd rather us all be arm in arm fighting against the tyrants together. Here, and just before I leave, here is Flex's PayPal. Again, I'm gonna put it in the chat. Oh, wait, that's the office number. Let me see if I can get this back. Oops. Yeah, let me drop Flex's link again so we can help him out. And if you think about it, let him know that Delete Laws sent you. We can get a conversation going. He should be out in 7 or 8 days, hopefully, and we can do a live stream with him. I was also in contact with Hendry, and hopefully we'll be doing a live stream soon with Hendry. If not tonight, definitely tomorrow. I got kind of a jam-packed schedule today. Yeah, we don't stop. Free Chile. Thank you, guys. I will see you in about 40 minutes on the live stream right here on the Delete Laws channel. Remember, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance, and indifference to this notion is the means by which the people have and will secure their own oppression. Stop securing your own oppression, and let's start today. And let's just all be humble and learn from each other. I'll see you guys in the next live stream in 39 minutes.